I'm sitting down with my closest girlfriend. Child, help me. I'm sitting down with my closest girlfriend because I wanted someone who I knew me intimately to be able to talk to me about this book because she can ask questions that none of you can ask because she knows me so well, but also she can dive a little bit deeper because she knows me so well. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, this is Miss Keisha Bell Ross, my good girlfriend, y'all.
Hey y'all. Thank you for having me. Let me just I gotta go there and just I was brought into tears when she gave me my book. Because it just meant so much just to hear like people speak all the time, but very rarely in life you're going to be around someone who is truly a verb, and she is a verb like in all aspects, like since we met. And I think that's why we can have these conversations. Like if she says it, it's going to be done. Like it is, she's true and committed. So just to see like it here, to see Finding Your Way, to see Tarnisha Moe Sass in print, to see Publisher, to see her thanking everyone, just down from her aunt, who
Gina, you remember
Gina. I just want to take a moment for that. Down to her aunt Gina for that she was really close to her grandmother, and then the inspiration for her writing. So do you want to, let's just start off there. Let's just go just really quick through the line of the people that you acknowledged in the book, because I think it's important for everyone to hear that.
It is. So first and foremost, the reason why this book got finished the year it was finished is because my grandmother, Josephine Sass, which is my father's mother, I wanted her to know and to see that her prayers were answered about me through this book. And then secondly, you know, my other grandmother, which is my mother's mother, she wasn't able to be alive to you know, see it come to fruition, but I wanted her to know, like, I know she's watching over me. But bigger than that, my Aunt Gina.
Yes.
We were this, oh man, I said I'm not gonna cry, and I'm not. We were a year apart, and she passed away of cancer.
Yes.
And she came to me in my dream. And I knew from that dream, she was telling me, don't drop the ball. And I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to do that. And don't drop the ball, talking about in life and actually stepping up and doing what I say I was going to do and carrying forward our family lineage on a whole other level. Like I wasn't going to drop the ball. And then let's talk about, oh man, what started me to writing. So I used to write back in the day. I did. And I stopped. I put everything that I used to do aside until I met a fabulous, I mean, just beyond, like larger than life guy. His name was Kasim Chandler. And when we, first of all, I knew him from, we were younger, but I knew of him. I didn't really know him because we were from the same town. But when we came back together, I can't explain. I can't really explain it. I can just say that I felt a love for someone that I hadn't felt in a very long time.
You know why I'm smiling, right?
Yeah.
Because when those two magnetic powers like clinked up, and her and I were on the phone, I was like, oh Lord, here we go.
And then I started back writing poetry. I hadn't been writing poetry, child. I was like, roses are red,
yes.
But he started me back on writing. And so I started back writing. And then that's how I also started speaking, because he challenged me one day, you know, about my speaking. And I was like, okay, the one thing I could do is I could show you better than I could tell you. So he challenged me on that. And then I started, you know, with the public speaking. But then tragically, he passed away. Yes. And when he passed away, I felt a pain that I hadn't felt in a very long time. We didn't really start this off with my children because as a mother of 6, and I have 5 living children, let me tell you, my children will always come first. That is not even a question in this. And there was something that happened to me when he died. And the reason why she can be here for this is because when that happened, you have to tell that story, because I cannot without bawling and making it through this interview.
I don't know if you're going to, I'll make it so you won't bawl.
Okay.
So the moment that you told me you lost Kasim, I knew you lost a part of you. I knew how impactful he was to you. I knew that with him, you knew everything was going to be okay, and you knew you had a plan, and you met that one that they say is like your partner, that your soul that intertwined. So I knew that. I knew that from everything you guys did together. And I'll just say
and
that.
it wasn't all good. We ain't gonna front in the streets
that's what I said. I'm just gonna say that.
Yep. We're gonna be honest, because that was a hot mess.
A hot mess. What's a different word for hot mess? Because that's what we need. Somebody get a thesaurus.
Yeah, so we have to be clear. We were not together when he passed, but he still.
He was,
he was the man that taught me kind of that. Like I knew like of an unconditional love, but it was different with him.
That it reminds me of that movie that Will Smith had. Oh gosh, and he was like a superhero, and he kept getting linked back to the person that he loved, and no matter what time and what year they were, they were linked back by force.
Yes, and it's just fun. So funny when one of the spiritual people I talked to kind of had that conversation with me.
Yeah. So us, and it was like that. So when I knew that that was gone for you, I knew that you weren't you.
Yeah.
So Miss Thing thought she can be like, I'm good. I don't need anything. Can I come over? No. Yeah, all right. Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
You need these kind of friends in your life, but you don't. I told her, no, I don't need nobody. I'm good.
Are you hungry? Look, you hungry? You need food? No, I got everything. I'm good. I was like, okay, no problem. What I do? What a good girlfriend do? Come 10 minutes later, walk in. She laid up
in the chair,
with shades on, coat. This is me moving over. Okay,
in the chair with me.
In the chair.
In the chair. Yep.
Yeah. So.
And I went and got every letter we had wrote between each other, and I pulled it all out.
Yeah. And we just was able to just open it
because I was so happy that although we had broken up, I had sent him such a loving message.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he knew, and I'd always told him, no matter what happened to us, like I will always love you. And I used to always tell him that we would not be okay if he left this earth. Yeah. And for some reason, I don't know, I didn't think he believed that, but yeah, that was pretty bad.
That one thing I think is important to just repeat, that you said everything you had to say. I always say, even if you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, or if you're at a job or a friendship or whatever level it is, or whatever you're going to do, give 159,000% of yourself. So when something happens, when you walk away, you have no like regrets. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, because you used that opportunity.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah, I did. And so getting to how this came about was Kasim was an author himself. And I remember in the relationship, I would always try to push him like to publish his book. I remember he gave me his book and I read it in one night and I called him. I'm like, oh my God. It was called Black Cat. And I was like, oh my God, this is fabulous. You should get it published. And he was going through his own things. I will never tell his story, but he never had that happen. And it was something in me that said, I'm not going to leave this earth and not published a book, leave a part of me here, because now that he's gone, I have no idea what happened to his manuscript, but
it's not here.
It's not here.
Or it's not for anyone else to
to continue on with. Yeah. So I was like, it was so important. I kind of had an inkling I always wanted to do this, but it was so important for me to finish it.
And I'm glad you got that message. And I'm so glad for your obedience. Yeah. Because when I started this book, besides just being proud of you to see the physical copy, just when I was into the introduction, I am just like, you know what? Yeah. This is why I rock with her. This is why, because it hits so many points. Yeah. And I'm gonna go into the introduction.
Let's do it.
Okay. And wait, before we go into the introduction, I am gonna let you, and we always put the kids first.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you talk about the kids really quick right now.
So my inspiration behind finding my way, which is one of the reasons why I wrote this book, was I wanted my kids to be able to have their mother be their inspiration. Like so many people are looking to, like, you know, the singers like Beyonce, and which is great because I love them too. But I always wanted to be that. I wanted them to be able to look at their mother and say, like, if my mother can do it, if she can go from 322 a month on welfare, single mom, to making it to being an author and a small press publisher, guess what I can do? So I wanted to change the very DNA fabric of my family for my kids. Like everything. Now, please don't get this twisted. It was love in this from, you know, a man and everything else, but my kids always, and it always has been that way. Always has been that way. They come first. I'm talking about before relationships, anything.
Always.
My kid, and the reason why I would leave relationships that weren't serving is if it was going to affect my children.
Yeah,
that was never going to happen. Period. So they were everything, and so let's talk about them. So me and my ex-husband had a blended family, but those are my kids. You'll never hear me use the word step because I don't believe in that. We have, starting off with our oldest was Sahad, and he was killed in 2010. I'm at the age of 25, and he's another reason why I am who I am today. Sahad McCoy is one of the main reasons why I am the mother I am today. And I need to say his name. Some people would say Sahad Monroe McCoy, but we the real McCoys over here, okay? So that was my married name. So he's one of the main reasons why I'm the mother I am today. Because losing him, we lost a big fabric of our family because he was such a great big brother to his sisters and his brothers. So then you have Ashley, who Ashley, I cannot believe is, Lord help me, 30. She's 36 now. With a 4-year-old, help me Jesus, with a 4-year-old, and then Antoine is 30. He's thriving. We got Alexis, who is 23 now. Kamora is about to be 21, and then the baby.
The baby.
My baby. My baby is 17, and so you heard me say my oldest son passed away. But he also left us a daughter, Sanai, that's my baby.
Yes.
So they are always the reason why, but I feel like people need 7 reasons why to anything that they do.
I agree.
7 reasons why. They come first. They are the number one reason, but all these other reasons were the reason why this is here today. Yeah.
Last and not least, something I really truly got to embrace last year, my ancestors. So I truly appreciate you recognizing our ancestors, because I truly believe we stand on the shoulder of our ancestors.
100%.
And so for you to bring them forth and acknowledge them, I truly appreciated that.
Because they were whipped so I can stand. I think people don't recognize that enough, because without those lashes, I could not be here doing what I'm doing. Do you understand that we are so privileged and we don't even know it?
We
are so privileged. So first of all, we couldn't even read, so let alone write.
It was illegal.
Right. So and here's the thing, I want to be clear. I always tell people, not all ancestors love you. That's another story for another day. So I always acknowledge my ancestors who love and support me and who fight for me on the other side. I am very spiritual. You will always hear me say it. God comes first, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And listen, I will never tell anyone who they should believe in. I am not here to do that. You believe in who you believe in, but I will never shrink down in who I believe in, because that's what got me through as well.
Well, you have to believe in something to stand for something.
That part.
So.
That part.
All right. So let's go. So let's go.
Yeah, let's go. All
right. So,
now that you know too much about me. All right.
All right. So okay. I have so many favorites with this book. And it's not like, we're real good girlfriends. So, because if I didn't really, she know I couldn't sit here with her if I really didn't believe in this book or really didn't like anything.
She would tell me.
I really would. And for the record, my mom was a part of New York Public Library. She was a librarian. So reading is a thing. Reading was a thing. Our punishment, go to the library, sit, read. So reading is embedded in me. So for me to like embed in every little part of this book and be like, wait, let's talk about this part. Yeah. So it's just not me selling. This
Right.
is from the heart.
Yeah.
What I love are your scriptures that you start off with. So I think I'm like, can't wait to text this to my kids. I will text my kids, but to grow a wise heart, you'll do yourself a favor. Keep a close head, you'll find a good life. A clear head, you'll find a good life. And I'm like, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. So on a big fat work day, which this was a work day for me, like it reminded me, like I just wanted to open the book back up before I saw you, but it reminded me to clear my head.
Yeah.
And keep my heart wise. So yeah, so thank you. So the one thing in the beginning of the book, you started off and you said yet another failed relationship. I want you to define failed relationships.
Oh man. Well, the divine failed relationship is because I was looking for love in all the wrong places. So the relationships failed because I was in relationships where I didn't even know myself. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I was. I wasn't mature at all, right? I was a grown little girl, like posing as an adult woman. And it's so what happened was I was getting into relationships with people who really we were trauma bonding.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I see your trauma. I see your trauma. I can, and here's the one thing about me. This is who I used to be. I can love it out of you.
Yeah.
I can love it out of you. I can love. I'm telling you, if it was broken, I could fix it. You couldn't tell me that I couldn't fix it. So failed relationship to me was getting into relationships with people I had no business being in a relationship with. I'm gonna be honest with you. My ex-husband he's a great guy. Please, I always tell people, please don't get it twisted. He's a great guy. He's a wonderful father. But I had no idea who I was. Yeah. So to get married and be with I was 19 years old, I think, 18, 19 when we met. I was too young. Yeah. I had no real structure in my life. I just kind of was like really wild and just kind of out there street, kind of really, really street. And so here I am like, oh, I can get married and be somebody's wife and I could be somebody's mother, but I didn't even know who I was. Yeah. So therefore I didn't understand marriage.
And not at all.
At all. So,
but who taught you about marriage for you to have that discussion?
Well, we didn't have those discussions. Okay. We didn't have that discussion.
It would just get married. You having kids, get married.
Right. This is what you do, right? Yeah. And because my parents are still together. My parents have been together for years. Oh my God, since high school. So
that's the example. Okay.
That's example.
Get married. It's gonna be happily ever after.
Right. And okay, none of that. And well, we had a good time, but I'm gonna be very honest because I did not know who I was. Didn't recognize, I would say, what I really needed. I went after things that I thought I wanted.
Yes.
And then it all fell down. Like it all fell down. So another failed relationship. So I got divorced. First of all, I got divorced. And then after divorce, I got into another relationship that was, well, I'm gonna be, I'm always very honest about that. During the marriage, I was not divorced. I was seeing someone else. I'm always going to be very honest about that because it's a part of my story. And it was a part of me finding my way. Never am proud of that. I'm telling that testimony because I promise you the one thing you never want to do is be a cheater in your relationship. Okay. Like I can honestly, how people say never say never. I can honestly say today with no qualms, I will never, ever cheat in a relationship again. God dragged me for filth. Let me just say that. So after that what happened in the aftermath after my marriage, which is going to come up, and we're not going to get into that later, it's going to come up later in the book. It was horrible. It was horrible for me. And so then I got out of that relationship and I thought I healed, right? And then I'm like, oh, okay, I can date again. And then when you start dating again, and then what happens? You start meeting people, and then those old pieces of you start to come back. And so I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm dating the same person in a different body.
Yeah. I've heard
dating the same person in a different body. But it was because I was looking for love in all the wrong places. Instead of looking for it in myself, I was looking for somebody else to do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant by fail. And so the truth of the matter is I really learned. I really learned a lot about me, myself, what I need, what I want. So
Mm-hmm.
today I'm a very different woman. Don't come for me. I'm a very I'm a very different woman today. And I'm none of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was as a result of all of that.
Yeah. Relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. I really in the beginning, in the intro, you used like the analogy of your family. Mm-hmm. And how your family was defining you.
Yeah.
And you talked about how your members would say that you thought you were better than others. Mm-hmm. And then you tried to use your insecurities to shrink yourself. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
So the biggest thing is people have no idea who people really are and what they really feel. Mm-hmm. They just go off of face value. And because I'm a strong personality, I'm a very strong personality. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm there, you're gonna if I'm in the building, you're gonna know I'm in the building.
Lord, y'all.
And so
wait, when you say you ain't lying,
you know what? This is why she can't be the one. Yeah.
I'm just saying you ain't lying. But go ahead.
Get on my nerve. But it was this thing where people would think because I was elevating myself, because remember I started off with saying that, you know, I was making $322 a month on welfare. Mm-hmm. And I was working myself up, you know, being like just getting better, personal developing myself and getting better and better. So therefore I was earning more money and things are coming. And so I would do things like I bought my first home at 25 years old. Mm-hmm. And all that other stuff. So people would look at him like, oh, she thinks she's better. Mm-hmm. Because I cared about how I looked and I cared about how I dressed. And I'm still like that today. Like I care about how I look. I care about my hair. I care about all of that. But back then, that was because I hated who I was. Mm-hmm. And so I would get so upset when they said, she thinks she's better. I'm like, because you don't even understand the magnitude of which I look in the mirror and I can't stand myself. Mm-hmm. The magnitude, now that could make me cry. Mm-hmm. Because I thought I was so ugly. Mm-hmm. It was like, your nose is too big. You look like a man. Because these are things that I heard from mm-hmm. other kids growing up. So, and I was a bum mm-hmm. and that kind of thing. So I never had that thought I was better than anything. As a matter of fact, I thought I was worse than most things. Mm-hmm. But because I didn't allow their words to kind of hit in the moment when they would say it, I kind of would just I would buckle up and get mean. Like my anger was bad. Mm-hmm. And I had an attitude. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know that was hurt.
You had an attitude?
Girl, see, this is why I'm about to leave, okay? Because look, like, right. We ain't got to tell the people, but yes, all right.
I would have never thought.
Anywho, but no. So my attitude in anger was disguising my hurt and my pain of not loving me. Mm-hmm. I hated what I saw in the mirror.
I want people to recognize what you just said without me trying to put on a psychiatrist hat. Mm-hmm. Your anger and your attitude was from your hurt. Yeah. So when people see someone with an attitude, or
especially kids, because I was that kid.
Yeah, but even from kids to an adult, someone's angry, somebody has an attitude. People normal reaction is like, oh, what are you saying to me? They react off of that, but don't. Yeah. Like work on like, okay, that person must be going through,
or be curious. Is not for you. I think or curiosity, right? So curiosity instead of an assumption, instead of assuming. Right, be curious. Yeah, you know, how is everything going? Are you okay?
Or try to help. And if it's somebody you don't know, don't take it personal.
That part, because a lot of people would take it personal, and it wasn't personal, and it wasn't about anybody else. It was about how I was feeling.
What you were going through.
What I was going through internally. Yeah, I mean, I was fighting against a lot of internal demons. Yes, that told me that I wasn't enough. I still heard the voices. Let me tell you, why things stuck out to me. I remember there was a security guard that worked at Plainfield High School, shout out Plainfield High School, New Jersey, that I heard him say, oh, she's not going to be nothing, because I was pregnant. Right. And I heard him say, because I was a bad kid. Don't get it twisted. I don't think that his words were unwarranted. But again, I was an adult. And I remember that playing in the back of my head. So the demons I was fighting against in my body was like, oh, I'm going to be something because I'm going to show you. Yeah. But that's also was the wrong thing to do, because here's the thing. You can't sustain that. No. So now I'm living off of anger, and I'm fueled by anger, right? So when anger fuels you, what happens? You become a manipulative person. You become a liar, right? You become a cheater. You could become all those things because it's like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get to the top. right?
Yeah.
Even if I have to manipulate my way through it. And again, not intentionally even knowing that I was hurting somebody, right? I did not intentionally know, and people won't believe that, but it's the truth. Like intentionally, my brain didn't say I'm hurting somebody. Intentionally, I was like,
you were moving.
I'm going to move forward. Like I need to go here. I need to do this. My kids need that. So I'm going to go do this. Right.
Yeah.
And if you can't step up to the plate and do that, well, then I'll find somebody who can do that.
Yeah.
Right. Never knowing that none of that was
Yeah.
good. But again, when you don't love yourself, when you are in the sunken place, you have sunken thoughts. That's it.
That's true. The one thing you said about your strong personality.
Yeah, I'm strong.
So how does that strong personality shrink and minimize, but yet you broke out of it and kept moving forward? You know, you got revelations, and you know, in spite of the dream killers, you said.
Yeah. Now this is where my faith comes in. Because I promise you, some of the things that I went through, I would hear things that I didn't recognize back then what I was hearing, but I would hear things to know when to move forward out of a certain situation. And so when you talk about my personality and shrinking back, how it was how it showed up. So it didn't show up at my job because I'm going to I can put on that mask. I'm going to put it on and be strong over that. It showed in my choices. It showed in my choices, right? My choices to be with the men that I was choosing. My choices to be around some of the people because I wanted to fit in. I will never forget as a kid, I wanted to fit in with these girls so bad. I knew they didn't like me. I knew they didn't care for me. I just wanted to be down so bad because I hated me. And I thought if I would be with them, never realizing they weren't laughing with me, they were laughing at me. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't realize any of that stuff. You know, so it was showing up in my choices. That's where the shrunkenness was coming in at. You know, it was showing up in my choices. I made some very bad choices that turned out to be some of the best choices in the long run. But
because you learned from them.
I learned a lot. But that's the big thing. The one thing I would always do is take accountability. I was that kid. Like I own it. Yeah. So what?
And that's I think the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I own it. So what?
Because that's how you learn.
Yeah. So that's how that came about. But it was really my faith that helped me get through. Like, and then I used to say to people, I even said this to my mother, Lord, she gonna be mad if she hears this, but I did say it to her. I was like, you won't break me. I used to always say that. Wow. You will not break me.
Wow. To your mother.
I would say it to my mother. I said it to a lot of people. If I felt like you were putting me down, that would be my thing. So how I was able to stand strong, even though I didn't feel good about myself, it was like I used to say to the devil, this is real, y'all. One day I had a breakdown. I was having a real bad panic attack in my car, and I was like, you are not going to break me. Like, I don't care. Like, I felt like in that moment, it was like, you know, kill yourself. Like, you know what I mean? In the car. And so I had heart palpitation, and I was panic attack, and I was like, it will not break me. And so in that moment, this is how my faith came in, that even though I wasn't going to church and all that, please don't get this confused with religion, I started saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And I kept saying it over and over and over again until everything subsided. But that was my thing. It was like, you're not going to break me. Now, to me, if you ask me, that's what I mean by I wanted to show my grandmother that her prayers work, because I believe, this is my belief, that because of the way my grandparents and them prayed for us, that's why we were able to make it to where we are.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
That I won't disagree with.
Yeah.
I almost want to say your theme was "Nuck if you buck."
You know it's true. We ain't talking about them years.
Okay. Anyway,
that part.
So I think I know what gravitated me more was when you started talking about affirmations. And how you wanted to teach people how to validate themselves. And it's so funny. I had asked my son the other day, because he was like, "Oh, somebody thinks this and that." I was like, "Well, why do you care? Why do you need that validation?" But I think it's important for you to validate yourself, so no one else has to validate you. You don't need anyone else's validation.
Absolutely,
it's between you, your heart, your beliefs, and what you have in alignment if you're doing it. So, and speaking life into things.
Yeah.
So, one of the things you said that many people search outside themselves for validation, and it is important for you for people to be repetitive, and repetition is mastery.
Yeah, repetition is mastery.
And this is why you wanted people to learn affirmations and to learn how to validate themselves.
Yeah, because people do it now, they just don't realize they do it for bad things, right? So if you have a say you're an emotional eater, you do it over and over again, right? Repetition is mastery. Next thing you know, I'm an emotional eater. I eat junk all the time, right? We do it all the time, but we don't do it for good things. And so, because people don't believe affirmations are everything. When I tell you affirmations are everything for me, I have the biggest mirror in my room.
She does.
Written all over it is affirmations. In my bathroom, written all over affirmations. I have sticky notes in my office of affirmations because the reminder benefits the believer. I need things around me all the time to remind me who I am, because the world is going to tell you and everybody else who you are not. So it's like I need to say, and it's not enough to say I am enough. It is the great I am, but I have to look in the mirror and say you are enough. That's the reaffirming, right? So it's not just affirming, but this is how I got to the other side, because there was no one else that was going to be in the room with me. I love my girlfriend, but she couldn't be there. No, it was just me and God, and I had to get this up off me. So it was me saying, like, I am enough. I am a great mom. And I'm looking in the mirror saying, yes, you are a great mom. And I'm talking to myself. But it's weird because what people don't understand is it's really two parts of you having that conversation. That's why you have the affirm and reaffirm, right? Because here's the thing, the old you and the new you. Yes. Right? The old you was like, I am enough. The new you was like, yes, you are enough. Right? It's the old, because they're gonna battle. And so when the old you is like, I am enough, no, the new you come like, you are. Right? Like that thing. And it sounds dramatic, but guess what? My life is worth me being dramatic. Exactly. And I want to talk about that just for half a second, because I have, especially my people. I love my black people. Do you understand me? I love my black man. I love my black woman, my black children. I do. I love all, but I want to specifically say this to you. We have to step outside of the bounds and the box of what we normally do. I remember when I was doing catharsis one time, and that's when you like get a pillow and you like scream in a pillow, and they were like, oh, that's white people stuff. I said, let me tell you something. To get this pain out my body, I'm willing to do anything with, of course, with I would say, like, not anything, meaning bad things that would serve my highest good. If I have to scream, then I have to scream. If I have to shout, then I have to shout. If I have to affirm and reaffirm myself, if that's what it takes, do it. Stop worrying about looking cool, being cool. Oh, this ain't really going to work. If you haven't tried it, you won't know it. And when I talk about repetition is mastery, I take everybody back to when you were in school, when you learned multiplication and division, right? What did you have to do? You had the index cards. 2 times 2 was 4. 4 times 4 is 16, right? You had to do it over and over to become a master of multiplication before you can move on to what? Division, right? So that's why when people say it doesn't work, it's like, how long did you do it?
One of my favorite quotes are, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Yeah. That's from Aristotle. So that's one of my favorite things. And something you said when you just made a statement that people are like, oh, why are you doing that? That doesn't make sense. Or if it's what, like, okay, define. I always say, this is another quote I always say, define insanity. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's insanity. That part. So you did this over and over again, and you're still here. Well, why don't we try something different? Exactly. Let's move forward. Exactly. So I like that you did that. And you said that self-love is about taking accountability of your life. Yeah. That I was just like, circle, stars. Yes, yes. Because people think, and you said it, self-love. Okay, self-love. I'm gonna go take myself. I'm gonna hear these. What? I went and got my nails done. Right. Wait a minute. We going out to eat. That's self-love. Yes, that's self-love. Right. But no, self-love is standing in your power. Yeah. Is what you. And I'm like, come on, good girlfriend. Absolutely.
Because the thing is, when you realize that you are the true CEO of your life, you can hire, fire, have people come in, partner with you as much. You are in complete control. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times people live in the victim mentality. But let me tell you what I mean about a victim, right? Because I believe as children, we don't have choices, right? We it's our parents. Okay. But once we become adults, we then can make a choice. We don't have to be a victim anymore. So what I mean by victim is you get to make a different decision. Mm-hmm. You get to, a victim don't have choices. Yes, they can't make decisions, right? No. They can't help what happened to them, mm-hmm. right? But when you step into that power and say, you know what, I love myself enough to take complete control of my life, mm-hmm. that means you're the answer. Mm-hmm. You're the solution. Yes. And that's the thing. It's like so many people don't realize that the problem is the problem because they stay in the problem. But when you say it's not because of what he did, if you notice one thing about those failed relationships, mm-hmm. I never talked about what they did. Mm-hmm. I took on me, and it doesn't mean that they were innocent. It doesn't mean that they were all great and I was all bad. Mm-hmm. None of that. What it means is I'm willing to take complete control of my life and mm-hmm. say, you know what? I could do have anything I want. Mm-hmm. And so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take complete accountability for all of it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I became free. That's how I became free.
Taking the power back.
All of it.
All of it. All of it. You said that you wanted to get away from that stigma of brokenness.
Yeah. Because all I hear is, people being broke. And I used to say it. I told you, I said, you will not break me. But then I realized mm-hmm. that it was really not that. It was things happen to us sometimes at such an early age. We become detached. We mm-hmm. become emotionally detached from ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're not born, I don't love myself. Where does that come from? Mm-hmm. At a certain point in time, something happens where we detach from who we really are. Mm-hmm. So we're never really broken. It's a detachment from who we were really made in the image and likeness of.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And so, because here's the thing about words are power. Absolutely. And so when they keep saying broken, it keeps a stigma. But if I say, hey, wait a minute, mm-hmm. it's just that I'm emotionally attached. I'm numb, especially mm-hmm. in today's environment, mm-hmm. right? Because we've been desensitized to all the things that's happening in this mm-hmm. world. So I'm numb to things. Mm-hmm. But when you start to love yourself, and you become emotionally attached back again, mm-hmm. then it's like, oh, it's not that I was broken. Yeah. It was like this trauma happened where I attached. Yes. Yeah. So that's I really wanted to state that because I hear that a lot from my sisters, and it's like, no, you're not broken, boo. Mm-hmm. And stop letting people tell you that you're broken, boo. Yes. Okay. Yes. Because that's all I hear. Oh, she's broken. You don't get that. Yeah. Okay, but we're not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Okay, we're not gonna go down. And meanwhile, that was just the introduction I was talking to you about. So let's just hit chapter 1 right quick, as my mother would say, right quick. Right quick. Let's hit chapter 1. Yes, ma'am. So chapter 1, look, oh man, I wish I had Hove in the background.
You already know. Yes.
Chapter 1, you start off talking about 444 Jay-Z's album. Mm-hmm. And the one of his lyrics is, a house divided against itself cannot stand.
That's right. Right.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
So for me, everybody looks at, because it starts off the title is No One Wins When the Family Feuds. And people think that it's an outside feud, right? Mm-hmm. So it would be like me against my mother, me against my kids. That's not true. So when we talk about a house divided, I'm talking about your internal struggle mm-hmm. of you. Like I said, many people don't like to talk about it. It's like, we're not talking about Sybil where you have 7 different personalities. Yeah. No, but again, if you are divided within yourself, mm-hmm. you don't love yourself, guess what you're going to put out there? Right? Mm-hmm. So to me,
to everyone you
meet, everyone you come across, there's a certain level of pain that you have the potential, because I don't want to say everybody, you have the potential to put out mm-hmm. when you are divided in the inside. Mm-hmm. What they say about a double-minded man. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So for me, it was so important for people to recognize that all of this is within inside of you. If the family within yourself is feuding, how in the world do you expect everything else on the outside to go right? the family of you. And that's where I wanted to hit when we talked about
And you
that
say that, and it's true, because you're like, you're divided, but you're looking for something perfect. You're looking for something,
right.
You're looking for the thing for you that's going to make you happy, but you're not happy. You're divided inside, but you're looking for something to help fix that and heal that. One thing, while talking about that division and that war that he was having within himself, that he sought therapy for his toxic traits. And that's the one thing I have never heard addressed. Therapy for toxic traits.
Right.
So that, I want you to, like, what made you go there? I just want to just say basic and be like, what made you go to toxic traits?
Because I had to go to therapy for my toxic traits. Okay. Right?
Because I'm like, what got that?
Yeah, because I think it's important for people to understand that whether intentional or not in the beginning, there becomes a point when you know you're hurting someone. Right?
I'm gonna
in the beginning, intentionally, I may not have known. But there comes a point in time when you know you're intentionally hurting others with your behaviors and your choices, right? So then you become the poison. You become the toxic person in the house, right? For example, if I'm out here cheating and I'm gaslighting you, telling you you're doing all these things wrong, and then I'm yelling at the kids and doing all this other stuff, I'm upset because they're interfering with my messed up behavior. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like, oh no, well, you need to go to therapy and really look at what you're doing, look at what you're portraying. Look at the family is a mess. Your house is a mess because your house is a mess.
Yes.
That's the truth of it. And people don't want to believe it, but I'm telling you right now, if you're living in a house that's a mess, meaning your family is a mess, I need you to stop and look at you for a second. Because 9 times out of 10, you a mess. When I got this house in order, guess what house started to get in order?
Because you wasn't transferring. No, and then you had more focus.
Yeah.
And clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can get to see. It's like,
yeah.
And then when you go to therapy and then you start to open up to, why is that even in the beginning? Why are you even having that thought? From like you get to the root of it all, right? And so when you get to the root, I always say get to the root of things and pull that root out, then you can begin to grow beautiful things.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I know. It's bringing me back, because talking about the book puts me back in the because I wrote this a while ago, so it's put me back in the frame of mind that I was in, and even talking about it. And I was so happy that Jay-Z actually talked about it and talked about some of his toxic traits of cheating and and all the things that he was doing, because I was just like, wow, it opens up a window in the door for everybody to understand, like, it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay, because nobody wants to listen to little old me. It's like, oh, who's Tarnisha, right? But you put Hov and it's like, oh, he went to therapy. I don't understand that about our people either. We need someone.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, because we need somebody huge to tell us something when somebody is telling you a lived experience that can honestly help you get from point A to point B. It's so interesting to me. But if Oprah said, it's like, got it, right?
And then I feel like the country didn't get it until we had to go through this huge pandemic where so many people lost their life and so many people were traumatized.
Right.
Oh, now it's okay to get therapy. Right. We went through this. The whole nation went through this. Oh, we all need help now.
Right. Meanwhile, I was sitting back in therapy in 2014. Right? It's like, hello. I'm like, hello, people. This is a good thing. It's like, yeah, what do you know?
But that therapy brought you to the thoughts of what you have to do. One of the things you used was alignment. And it made me think about chiropractor and your body in alignment. Like if you don't have your thoughts in alignments and your words in alignment. So you want to talk about the alignment?
Yeah, like come into it. So my biggest thing is that, for instance, you cannot say like, I want to write a book and then be like, well, I'm not smart enough, or I can't spell correct. Like, it's the thing, like that's not in alignment, right? I always talk about, there's so many different things when I'm thinking about alignment. Your words and your action have to match.
I agree.
That's because I wanted to think of a simpler way to explain it. Your words and your actions have to match.
I always tell. I say with my kids, I hear what you're showing me.
That part. Or, it's so funny because, when we talk about alignment, man, we can go into our kids. But I'm like, Lord, all day long. It's like I say one thing and I do another. Mm-hmm. I want a healthy relationship, but I don't want to go get help from my shortcomings, right? I don't want to go get help for the places where I'm detached, right? I don't want to do the work that it would require to be in a healthy relationship. I just want to be in one. Wait a minute. That's not how that works, right? Yeah. It's not how that works. So, or the new thing today, well, I want a job that pays $1 million, but I don't want to put in the work to do it.
I don't want to look at the camera like that, but
yeah. So your actions and words have to align. Yeah. And there's so much power in what you speak, but I'm not gonna go there yet because I know that gets to come up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we could. It's so crazy because I'm like, I don't want to give too much of it away.
No, exactly. Let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Let's do it.
But the one thing before I keep going, that alignment and loving yourself, and then knowing when you love yourself enough that no is okay.
Oh yeah.
And that
no
yes
is a complete sentence because I was a people pleaser. I didn't think that because, and people didn't think of these because they was like, oh, they always say Mo was so mean. They would say I was mean. I really wasn't mean.
You?
Don't start now. I'm being nice. See, this is why people.
Well, I don't even understand why anybody would have thought
so
that. But go ahead.
What if? Okay, I am not mean. I'm a very loving person. However, and no, but I was really a people pleaser, and so I didn't say no to things I should have said no to. And so those are those choices that I talked about earlier, right? Those choices of those relationships. Sometimes I would be in a relationship and go because I didn't love myself and I needed to be validated by the man that I was with. I wouldn't say no to things I should have said no to, in all different areas, right? Whether it came to helping to do things. We get into that. We talk about a little bit of that too, lending money, whatever that was. I should have said no to. Yeah. I allow other people's burdens to be my burdens, and it should have been no. It should have been no.
We do it.
Oh God!
When you let other people's burdens become your burden. Yeah.
We're not gonna talk about Tragic Patty.
Well, you know what? We're not gonna go there today because I didn't write a book, and this not my house. My name is not on here, so it's not about me. Okay. And I love that. So
moving on.
What is this interesting to me is I don't journal. I've never journaled. Oh, man. I've never journaled. I will be the first person to talk to someone and say, you should consider journaling. I am guilty. I'll say I'm guilty of that. I will buy, actually, I think I bought 5 journals for Christmas gifts this year and put some really good things into the journals and gave them. Or if I see someone that I can recognize in someone else who needs to journal, but never recognize it in myself. Yeah. So I like that this book gave this to me.
Yeah, because we do more for others than we do for ourselves, especially Tragic Patty.
You know what? But don't. This is what we're not gonna do this day. This is what we're not doing.
Yes.
So I do love that. I do. So it forced me. I want to say, our friendship forced us. Our love for each other forced me to sit and start journaling
because I love it's. People, we don't realize how much we carry in our bodies.
I agree.
A lot of people talk about knee pain, lower back pain, chest pains. A lot of that is stress.
Yes.
And things that we've built up in our bodies that have been compounded over the years. So what journaling allows you to do is get it out of your body. Get it out of your system. I even with my coaching clients have them write letters. I mean, to people that have harmed them. And again, there's a whole ceremony that I do with those letters that I won't give out here, but so it's not like we're going to give it to the person, but it allows them to get that trauma out of their bodies. Yeah. And you'll be surprised to hear how many people say, man, my back stopped hurting. Or man, my knees stopped, because we're carrying the trauma in our bodies. And so get it out of your body. And so that was one of the reasons why I structured the book in this way. I wanted people to be able to get some of that stuff out of their body through this book.
So hold on before I say that. The one thing Again, I'm like, I'm guilty. So one of the, I don't want to give the book away without, I don't want to give the book away, but I do want to say when you talked about toxic.
Okay.
All right. So when you talked about toxic, I kind of, I'm not very like, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that. But I was like, toxic. I'm not a toxic person.
You got some traits, boo.
Okay, excuse me. I was talking. That was rude.
My bad.
That was a toxic trait.
I'm sorry.
It just popped out.
It
on
was a little bit. Oh my God! This is why we cannot do this. Lord help us.
And I was just like, wait, this is the funny part, and this is us all the time. I'm like, toxic. I don't have any toxic trait. Hold on, Google. So I Googled toxic trait.
What came up for you?
Because I don't have toxic traits.
Okay, well, what came up for you when you Googled?
And I found
not the Google.
I Googled toxic traits.
Well, what came up for you in the Google?
So I Googled toxic traits, and I found the site. It's called Better Up Blogs. I did 25 personality traits to spot in yourself and others. I found sneakiness, disruptors, self-centered, quick to anger, cynicism, and then I found one that was me.
Oh, you skipped past the other one? Okay, never mind.
Go ahead. You know what? You lucky I paid for this book because if it was free, if it was free, I would have threw it at you.
This is why. This is what happens with her. Okay, so
can you let me tell the trait I found out?
Tell your trait. Tell your trait.
My toxic. Oh wait, another trait was apathetic. My lack of self-awareness is a trait.
Oh my God!
I was like, what?
Newsflash!
A person who lacks self-awareness may struggle to reflect on their thoughts, actions, and words. For example, a toxic friend who isn't self-aware may not understand why they haven't reached their goal, despite sabotaging their own efforts.
That's sad.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
I was like, shout out to finding my way, because I just found my way to a toxic trait, and I'm self-sabotaging something that I'm really trying to work on. So this was, I was like, okay. And the reason why I brought that out, which was perfect because it was a question before.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell you the question. You have to get the book.
You have to get the book. Question. So I had wrote down the answer, and it connected when I had to Google toxic traits and find out. And let me just tell you.
Thank God for Google.
These kids don't have no reasons not to be scholars. Just information is right here.
That part.
Okay. But yeah, so I was like, wow. That to me, that was like a big opening moment of what's not being aware, because you're really self-sabotaging. Like when we finally get to the end of the book and finish divulging, we can talk about questions 1 and 2, and I'll tell you what I put. But you don't think of that as a toxic trait.
Well, it's a perfect segue to this. Most people are not aware of what their blind spots are, right? We all have them, right? We all have something in us, and it's everyone has something, and so sometimes we can't see it. So it takes either. This is why I love questions, and so why questions ended up in the book, because I believe people should remain curious. Questions are the answer. And we don't ask ourselves enough questions. And so how do I get to a place of even understanding? Is questions. A lot of times we just say it is what it is, but I'm going to challenge that, right? Because sometimes it not is what it is. It's you haven't asked yourself the right question. So I wanted this to be a place where you could sit down with the questions and ask yourself some serious questions and really give yourself a moment. Yes. And take your time through each chapter. It's not a rush. It's not a rush to get to the end. And this is why I actually said that I thought it would be great for a book club. Because again, you don't have to even ask the questions, right? You already have it posed for the group in here. So so you can get to know people better. Because that's another thing that I feel is lacking, right now. We're all behind the screens.
Yeah, and
but there's no more of this.
Yeah.
Having real conversations and getting to know people and to have a safe space to have that conversation.
Absolutely. A trusting, safe space.
Absolutely.
Where it's not going to come back and be like, oh, remember that time?
Exactly.
And girl, you still doing that? And girl,
but you just hit the nail right in the head, because I talked about the introduction. But baby, when you begin to love yourself, you ain't even around them type of people no more.
No.
That part.
Yes.
You're not even around those kind of people.
Because you can't tolerate that.
And here's the thing I want people to understand. That doesn't mean you have to be like, because I love every year people talking about how they about to block people on Facebook. And you don't even have to do any of that. As you begin to love and elevate yourself, that's why I named this Finding Your Way, because it's not about doing it my way. I'm giving you questions that help you find your journey, your so you can do it your way. But the whole premise of this is so that you can elevate yourself in such a way that those people just follow. They gonna say, like they said to me, oh, she thinks she better. I promise you, I don't have a better bone in my body. Now, I think I'm different. Don't get that twisted.
You definitely different.
And so is she. She ain't gonna start with me today, tragic Patty. However, and
whatever.
This is us. But we are all supposed to be different. That's why our handprints are not the same. We're supposed to be different, but it's never a better. But they may say that about you, but by the time you get finished affirming and reaffirming yourself within this book, you ain't gonna have no problem.
But you want the better.
Yeah.
You want the better.
Because
you are the better.
You want to know when the opportunities come. You want to know when the doors open. I promise you, every single door that has opened for me, and you can attest to this, was when I started loving and caring and putting my needs first, not in a selfish way, but in a personal development. I'm going to clean up all of this stuff, all this trauma that's within me, all these toxic behaviors, all these things that I complain about on a regular basis, but don't do anything about. Right? So it wasn't until I got to that point where it was like opportunity after opportunity. My business started to flourish. This book got completed. So I think that we have given them so much to begin with. Okay.
Yes. And let me just add to the end. That's because you deserved better. Because you found your way up. You got yourself in alignment. You took yourself to a place where you like, you know what, I'm going to be better. And now after you became better, you knew you deserved better.
Exactly. And it's nothing but the best from here.
Yes.
Nothing but the best friendships, nothing but the best relationships, because I am going to get married, okay? But nothing.
You want me to sing at the wedding?
Please, God, no. Nothing but the best from here on out. But I also vow to give nothing but the best of myself. And that's the difference.
Yes.
I'm not going to give. And that's the difference with me. I will never tell you anything to do that I won't do. And you know I'm not like that. It's like, if I say it, that means I did it. It's tried and true. It's not theory. So everything that you're going to get in this book is something that I personally did, walk myself through, as well as my clients through. So this is not some made up stuff. So with that being said, you can catch up with us and get to chapter 2 by the time we meet again, which we'll put that date out soon. And order Finding Your Way, 7 Ways to Love and Heal Yourself. You can get it on my website, www.moesass.com.
What's that website again?
www.moesass.com. I can't stand her, y'all.
MOESAS.
I can't. This is why you can't have people in your house.
Man.
I love y'all for listening. I really appreciate
Thank you so much.
And I can't wait to hear. And we love feedback. So let me know what you thought.
Yes.
And I don't know. I feel like this is something bigger happened.
Yeah, this. Yeah, I needed this.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Good night.